AITA for getting my neighbor's car towed? I, F30, recently inherited a terraced house off of my late child-free aunt. With the housing market being what it is, I've decided to move into the house permanently for the foreseeable future. It's a lovely house in a nice area, so you know. Why not? It has a driveway which is pretty neat. But there's one problem. One of the neighbors, F35, keeps parking in the driveway. I talked to her politely about it and she explained that my aunt used to let her park in the driveway because my aunt didn't have a car. Whereas she and her husband have a car each and their driveway can only fit one car. I do not drive either, but the reason I don't want her parking there is that I'm disabled and use crutches to get around. When the neighbor parks in the driveway, the space around her car is quite narrow, which makes it very difficult for me to get to my own front door and puts me at risk of injury. I tried to explain this to the neighbor and asked her if she could please find somewhere else to park her car. She seemed to understand but didn't promise anything. Well, she kept parking in the driveway. I talked to her again and she said she can't park elsewhere because it would be too far to walk to their house, and said she has 3 young children who frequently travel in her car. I got kind of annoyed because I felt like she just didn't want to change her habits. But I'm a bit shy and not good at confrontation and just told her I hope she can figure something out that doesn't involve parking in my driveway. Well, a few days ago when I was coming home from work, she had parked her car in my driveway again. This time her car was parked really forward and super close to my front door, making it pretty much impossible for me to get into my own house. Even an able-bodied person wouldn't be able to get in. There was no space to even open the front door. It opens outwards. Here's what probably makes me an asshole. I was really angry and tired of the situation. So without trying to talk to the neighbor again, I called the police on a non-emergency number, explained the situation, and they showed up and towed my neighbor's car. Obviously she was pissed AF when she found out and showed up at my door the next day. She said I'm inconsiderate and should learn how to compromise, and that if I asked her to she would have moved her car. I don't believe her. NTA. She expected a disabled person to hobble their way over to her house to ask her to move the car. I also love her saying you should have compromised. The compromise was that you gave her a few chances to find a place to park her car. You were more than patient and now she can go and see if the towing company wants to compromise with her. NTA should learn how to compromise. The compromise is, you won't park on her front yard. She said I'm inconsiderate and should learn how to compromise, and that if I asked her to she would have moved her car. Yeah, she said that. But she showed you that she's an inconsiderate jerk who has zero consideration for others, particularly you. So why do you care what she said? Op. NTA for getting the car towed. Op. And the real question is, has she parked in your driveway since? NTA. Sometimes you can't be nice. You spoke to her and she refused to listen. You now got your message across. NTA. It's your property. Any arrangement she had with your aunt was nullified when you inherited the house and you tried to be polite. Polite didn't work. If you don't drive, maybe put some large potted plants in the driveway, positioned to protect your access to your door. If there's a homeowners association, check the bylaws before you put any sort of barrier in the driveway. NTA. You shouldn't learn to compromise about your property. It's not some shared parking lot after all. You talked to her several times and requested her to find different arrangements. The only issue is that you should have been more assertive from the start. Hi. Due to mobility issues, I need my driveway to be empty. I understand you had an agreement with my aunt, So as a courtesy I will give you 3 days to find different arrangements. If I find your car in my driveway past that deadline, I will get it towed without further warning so I can access my house. No, I won't be able to ask you move it because I have mobility issues which make it hard to walk to your house. NTA. If she frequently travels with 3 small children in her car, then her husband needs to move his car, not you compromising your needs to suit them. NTA. You gave her multiple opportunities to park elsewhere and she insisted on continuing to do what she wanted. In fact, I'd say she escalated it by parking so close to your door that she blocked access. You shouldn't have to ask her if she feels like moving her car every time you come and go. NTA. You did ask her to move her car repeatedly, and her response was to park so badly that you literally couldn't even get into your house. You've been more than gracious and compromising enough with her already, considering that her parking agreement was with your deceased aunt, not with you. You shouldn't have to beg her to display common courtesy every single time she parks on your property. NTA. The husband should find a parking spot and let her park in their driveway if the kids are the issue. NTA. Compromise? You don't owe that delusional, entitled twit anything. It's your driveway, your rules, and that's that. It's your driveway. Period. You don't owe her any explanation. If you had a car, she'd probably try and tell you to park it somewhere else because she thinks she needs your driveway more than you do. It would appear her idea of compromising is you doing exactly what works best for her. NTA. NTA. You have asked politely and explained why. It is your property, and just because your aunt let her do that doesn't mean you have to. I hope they don't cause you any issues because now they are PO. Good luck. NTA. Her lack of a parking space is not your problem. NTA. Maybe you can have a fence installed so she no longer has access to your driveway, but you can still get into your home. It's funny to me when people like this are confronted with the consequences of their own actions. They always call the offended party inconsiderate, rude, etc. Odd. If she's the one toting her kids around, then she should have the access to her own driveway and her husband should be parking elsewhere. NTA. She can figure out somewhere else to park. Not your problem. NTA. It's your driveway. You asked her to not park there and she didn't listen. NTA. It's your house and there is no reason to compromise. Tow her if it happens again. NTA. Her version of a compromise was to continue to park in your driveway for free even when she knew you didn't want her there. If she tries to convince you to let her park there again, just say no and make it clear that if she tries to park there again without her permission, you will have her towed again. You don't need to justify your reasons or debate her needs versus yours. She has no right to park on your property. It seems likely that your aunt didn't really appreciate her parking there all the time either. And this woman just bullied her into the arrangement too. She would be towed every time. NTA. Send her a firm notice through the mail, certified, stating that she will no longer be allowed to park, and if she does she will be towed. If you can't do it in person, then write it. Also advise her if she knocks on your door about parking you will call the police for harassment.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.